Hello world. It's Saturday the 14th of January and we're looking at a forecast for Soaring from Worcester tomorrow, Sunday the 15th of January 2023. But I'm going to start off by going back to this chart, which is a surface temperature for today, Saturday the 14th at 11 o'clock. You can see at Worcester we had a predicted temperature of around 27 degrees, and in fact on the launch point today at 12:30 or so it was still below 26. So clearly this model was out today, and it's just worth noting that when the model is not right, then the rest of the forecast is not as accurate as it can be. So we will see whether the model is more accurate tomorrow. It may be that it takes a day or two for everything to recalibrate. Tomorrow we've got a southeast wind, inversion at about 4,000 feet, and it's a bit cooler. But the two big features for tomorrow are the cloud, and I'm looking at the cloud in the local area for 2 o'clock, and we can see that at Robertson it's already below 3,500 feet. So going east of Robertson tomorrow is going to be difficult. Look quickly, we can go south. That's Villiersdorp, is just through the neck, and then that's towards Solari's Pass, and there we have about 4,500 feet, so that is still usable. And if we move out to 5 o'clock, we can see that the low cloud is completely killed off. At Robertson we've got cloud over the airfield, also 4,500 feet, still 4.5 on the Villiersdorp, but lower over Solari's Pass. And here over Slanghoek it's sitting at perhaps 4,500. I mention that because if you have to do a final glide from there back to Worcester, that might just be enough. Now the second feature for tomorrow is the surface wind, and I'll find that here. And we've got this very strong southeast wind coming in. It's a coastal wind. It comes in at low level and it gusts through the valley, and what we can see here is once it gets past Worcester, it turns the corner and gusts out into the Tulbagh Valley. And the Tulbagh Valley, it's sitting at 22 knots. That's already at 2 o'clock. It's also lighting up some ridges, Vic Peak, down towards Solari's Pass, Slanghoek, but we'll see that a bit more in the later one. And at 5 o'clock, surface wind, you can see that this gusting is now pushed right up 26 knots and streaming right across the Tulbagh Valley and over the ridge on the far side, spilling into the valley, and then it creeps up the side of the Witzenberg as well, into the bowl. The bowl's got dead air in it, and there's a lot of wind gusting around this corner. We can see this ridge from Solari's Pass is looking pretty good, a little bit calmer on the Villiersdorp Bridge. Let's go out a little bit more with surface wind. Let's look at first at 2 o'clock. If we do go north, we will see that once we passed Tulbagh, Porterville, the wind is very southerly, and then it creeps around to the southwest again. The Worcesterhoek Ridge looks a little bit better, and Claver possibly also. So there is some flying to be done to the north, but the challenge is to get through the Tulbagh Valley. And at 5 o'clock you can see that that's really predominant now. That's the big scale map. We can see now at Porterville 15 knots southerly, a little bit more onto the ridge towards Worcesterhoek, and quite parallel to the ridge. at on the Claver Ridge. You can see here what's happening in the Tulbach Valley. It really gets quite dramatic. Okay, let's look at some soundings quickly. I'll start off with Robertson at 2 o'clock, and you can see that it's just on 3,000. You may be able to creep into Robertson. By 5 o'clock Robertson is closed, and at 2 o'clock Swellendam was already closed. Going north, Tulbach, we can see the effect of this wind gushing through the valley. You can see it's got very sharp nose of high speed wind close to the ground that tapers off as you get a bit of height. And at 5 o'clock it's even more pronounced. There's huge nose of wind. You can see that it's actually getting nearly 35 knots at 1500 feet at circuit height, so it's quite exciting. Further north, that's Porterville, very southerly, and we're looking at an inversion of around 4,000 feet there. 5 o'clock, you see that southerly wind is messing up the lift, and it's nosing in. Worcesterhook, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, still see the effect of that southerly wind, but it's not so bad. Clanwilliam and Claver, and as you can see, the further we get away from Worcester, the better it gets, because we're escaping that southerly blast. At Claver at 5 o'clock, it's very southerly, but there's still some thermic according to this model. Okay, let's go back and just see what our options are for tomorrow. I'll look at the two things. This is the boundary layer maximum up-down motion, and we'll move out to 5 o'clock. If you do get a task out to the north and you're coming home, there's some tricks to getting back through this valley, and it can be done, what has been done in the past. The first thing, you need to come in with as much height as you can, even before Porterville, because there's a dead air and then some sink. There's a little nose here where you may be able to pick up some lift. Then you've got to cross the saddle, which you'll be heading straight into wind and into the sink. Once you're through the saddle, you hit some lift again, and you can actually go around the corner. That air gets a bit dead, that lift isn't as good as it looks, but you should pick up some lift along the Witzenberg. Work the Witzenberg carefully and get as much height as you can. Then you've got to push around Hook, which is into wind and into the sink, until you get round the corner, and then it can start working again. And you want to be patient in that corner and get as much height as you need, because the next step is once again into wind and into sink until you get round Hook, and then there's also a chance to pick up some lift. Finally, if you don't have enough height to get straight home, you can sneak around and top up on Brandbach. So it's not impossible, but it can be character building. This is a Slanghoek Ridge. As you can see, that looks very strong, but remember we got some cloud there for 4,500, and Philiasdorp Bridge and Solaris Pass. So there are some options for a task tomorrow. I think we will fly. I think it will be an interesting day, although perhaps not a very fast day. Well done to the people who flew and got round today. Enjoy and fly safely tomorrow and have fun. Thank you.